Okay, boys and girls, we did it. We did it. 2023-2024 fantasy season is over. I appreciate everybody that joined the league this year, that wasn't here last year, and everybody that's been here for a long time. Been a year of ups and downs. I will say probably one of my worst fantasy football seasons personally in a few years, but it's the name of the game. Things are going to happen. Can't always be on top. You know, there's always going to be setbacks. Do want to give some congratulations out. I think some congratulations are definitely in order. I think some people started off with some tough seasons and had some great comebacks. We had some very unique stories and some bad showings in general. So to give just some storyline stuff that occurred this year in fantasy, we had some people that started off hot, started off with some very promising years that ended up falling a little short at the end of the year. Two of those people, which are people that played each other this week, Dalton and Bess, both started off with, white hot seasons, and then kind of fizzled out there in the middle and the end, and kind of just lost it. And then once it was gone, they couldn't find it. I don't know as much for Dalton, but I do know Bess basically gave up once he started losing, which is not an admirable trait to have. So Bess, you need to work on that, buddy. But some general good seasons. I know Ryan, love you to death, Ryan. I understand you're leaving. I know you thought I was going to be mad at you. Not mad at you. I know you're going to come back. That's the biggest reason why I know you're eventually going to join back. You can't leave the GOAT League forever. It's just not going to happen. But I know you had a tough year this year with running 3 fantasy teams, a little bit overwhelming, and you started a new job. I mean, that's always tough. I do expect fantasy football to be your primary source of income in the future, so you better get that figured out. 3 fantasy teams is nothing, dude. Come on. I know some people that had some tough years, and a lot of us rallied back. Some of those people being Dawson, tough year, rallied back to 7-7. Benson had a really promising year, and then he kind of fizzled out a little bit. Same with Matt. Matt was hot as shit at the beginning of the year, and then he kind of fizzled out at the beginning, also ended 7-7. And then same with me and Connor. Me and Connor started at the very bottom of the barrel from week 1, and then we'd rallied back to, my record was 7-7. His record 6-8. So rallied back to somewhere in the middle. And now to get on to the meat, to get on to the juice, the sauce. So in the playoffs, we had a matchup. I'm just going to go over this week's final matchups here, as opposed to going to the first round, second round of the playoffs. Competing for third place to basically get your money back for your buy-in for the league this year was a matchup of Colin and Adam Burbrink. And it was a close one. I will say Adam had an absolutely murderous week, absolutely killer week this week, which he definitely needed. Nico Collins, 50 points. Travis Etienne, 39.5, 37.7. I don't know if this is adding up, if that's the sum of 2 weeks, because 50 points on a single week is absolutely nutty. Okay, so it's 34.5. So 50 is the total of the 2 weeks. Regardless, had some big weeks out of the guys that I know you definitely needed. Ended up pulling you out a dub. So congratulations to Adam for getting his buy-in back. And by the way, give me a little bit of grace about getting everybody's money out to them. I'm going to have to get everybody in a group chat, kind of figure out how to do that. Because some people paid cash, some people paid Venmo, different payment methods. So got to figure out the correct way to make sure everybody gets their money that they're due. Next, we go to 2 winners. Hunter Stevens. Shout out to you, man, because first year, I think, ever doing fantasy, if I'm not mistaken, and definitely had a good year. You started slow as well. I know you started a little slow. You picked up Juju Smith-Schuster way too fucking early. But then you ended up rallying back. I think a little bit of it was luck. I'm not going to lie, but I think you're a lucky guy, because there was a few weeks where you didn't start people. If you would have told me that you were going to be in the fantasy finals, there's like 2 weeks in a row where you didn't start people, I would have said that you were a fucking liar. But you rallied back. You figured it out, and you got all the way to the finals, and you had a chance. I think you were doing a little something this week. You made it close this week. Jalen Hurts shit the bed with like 0.6 points or something like that. I mean, absolutely dog shit showing from the Eagles to get destroyed by the Giants like that. I mean, that was an embarrassing loss. I mean, they also the Cardinals too. I mean, what the fuck are they doing, right? So really tough that you couldn't pull it back out. That's how it is in fantasy sometimes. I mean, I try and do the 2-week ones, 2-week playoffs to kind of make up for that. The fact that you can have just like one random bad week that just kind of just completely fucks everything for you. I want to give you a solid chance that for that reason, not, one off week doesn't screw you over. Unfortunately, they were just too big of a deficit after the first week to where you really couldn't come back the second week, but still very admirable. I mean, to get in the finals in your first year ever playing fantasy football and to not even watch NFL football that much and be able to step into it and really figure stuff out. Big shout out to you, Hunter. And now for the man of the hour, my man, Connor Walsh. Congratulations, brother. What a fucking journey you've been on. And I mean, I absolutely love seeing this. And I mean, if I could have, I'm not going to lie, if you were going to tell me, Jake, you're going to play like dog shit this year in fantasy, you're not even going to make it to the playoffs, who would you want to win this? Who deserves this win? And I honestly would have said Connor Walsh. Reason for that, what a humble guy. You didn't see him in the chat talking shit, doing anything, and everybody that's been in the league for the last few years, nobody's ever seen Connor Walsh talk any kind of shit to anybody. I mean, super humble dude. And I know the last couple years, Connor's had some tough times with his lineups. He was having a hard time getting things rolling, had a few, bad drafts, and a bad draft, everybody knows, I mean, you can't really recover from it. So he had a few bad years, and he didn't complain. He just rolled with the punches, learned from his mistakes, engineered, and came back this year and had an absolutely dominant season. 11-3. There for a while, you were undefeated, I'm pretty sure, for a long bit there. Just absolutely tearing people to shreds, dropping like 140, 150 a week. I mean, you couldn't deserve it more than this guy. I hope you use these fantasy winnings to buy yourself something nice. You deserve it. Treat yourself a little bit. I'm sure that engineering salary, you're not short on money. So use this as your extra disposable income. Buy yourself something stupid. Go get a new driver. Go get, I don't know, a new monitor. Go buy a PS5, something like that. Go buy something dumb that you normally wouldn't get, but you deserve it. So I hope you have a drink for that. Last thing I want to go over, really quick. There are some people that still owe some fees that need to be paid. Those people being, actually, to look over my numbers, Jacob Bessiker, you still owe 2 fees. So that means 2 shots. I know you took a video of yourself drinking an already opened High Noon the other day, and I don't know if you thought that was going to gratify all of it, but even if I count that as 1, you still owe 2 more. So I'm expecting that before the draft of next year. That obviously gives you a fucking ton of time, no excuses. 2 videos of you either drinking a beer from start to finish. I want to see the crack if you drink a beer. If not, if it's a shot, I trust you. I'm not going to say you poured water unless it's blatantly obvious. So either 2 beers, a beer and a shot and a beer, or whatever you want to do. You owe me that before the draft next year. Last announcement that I would like to make is that we obviously had a person leave the draft this year. This is the first year we've done a 12-man draft. I want to do 10 next year. I'm not going to lie to you. I think 12 was just a little bit too much. I think I liked the dynamic of a 10-man draft a lot better, and that's kind of what I've been hearing from a lot of people as well. So obviously we had Ryan already leave next year. I don't want to necessarily kick anybody out of the league. I don't think anybody's deserving to just be booted out like we did with John Wolf a few years ago, for those of you that remember our experience with him being in the league and how much of a fucking goon he was in the group chat at all times. But if anybody does know that, like, I'm not sure if I want to be in the league next year, and you want to, kind of be like, oh, I'll step away this year, let me know, because we only need 1 person to do that, I believe, to get back down to a 10-man. So let me know if you're open to that. We can obviously have a conversation in the chat. But regardless, everybody, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for coming in the league this year. for giving effort, for most of you, not all of you, most of you giving effort for the whole season, really caring about it, being active in the group. There's too many leagues that, are kind of annoying to be in. People, start losing at the beginning of the year and they just don't do shit the rest of the year, and just doesn't make it fun for anybody. So I appreciate everybody being active, messaging during Bengals games, doing everything like that. Makes fantasy football a lot better. Makes me happy to be the commissioner of this league. So really appreciate everybody. Peace and love. And start studying up for next year's draft, because I'm fucking coming for you, dude. I'm fucking coming for you. Oh, sorry.